Every day, the boss lady takes advantage of the busiest time to let homeless people come in and eat. The stench from the homeless man drives away over 100 customers. But the boss lady doesn't care at all. She's still dressed in a glamorous cheongsam, sitting next to the homeless man, telling him to eat slowly and to ask the kitchen for more if he's still hungry. Unexpectedly, the homeless man, excited, lets out 8 loud farts, then awkwardly stands up to leave. But the boss lady suddenly calls him back, then lifts his face and looks him over from head to toe. Next, she pulls out $200 from her own pocket and hands it to Tony, telling him to clean himself up. She offers him a job at the restaurant to help out, with meals and lodging provided. Little does she know, her kind act will bring an incredible return. It turns out, Tony was once a famous chef 3 years ago. However, during the latest Chef King competition, his CEO ordered him to deliberately lose the match. Tony thought his CEO was joking, but then his CEO became serious. Tony immediately questioned his CEO, having spent over 10 years perfecting his cooking skills, only to be told to give up on winning the competition. His CEO had placed a $1 billion bet on him losing the competition. Tony's loss would mean an easy $1 billion profit for his CEO, but Tony insisted on winning the competition fairly, and bowed to his CEO, severing their mentor-mentee relationship. Just as Tony was about to leave, his opponent and his subordinates suddenly blocked his way. It turned out his CEO had betrayed him, collaborating with the opponent. By the time Tony realized the truth, it was already too late. The opponent ordered his subordinates to restrain him, and to ensure he would lose the competition, they cruelly crippled his right hand. His CEO then revealed the truth. Tony wasn't an orphan. 20 years ago, he had stolen Tony from his mother after a car accident. His CEO spent 2 decades turning him into a culinary genius, all for today's bet. His CEO also took out a token left by Tony's mother, and threatened him, saying if Tony wanted it back, he had to obey. The day of the competition finally arrived. The theme was fried rice. Everyone expected Tony to win, but with his crippled right hand, Tony couldn't even pick up an egg. His opponent easily cracked the egg, shaking it like a pro, and then quickly peeled off the shell. After that, he tossed it into the pan and stir-fried it. The dish was done in 2.5 minutes. Meanwhile, Tony struggled to break the eggs with his left hand, but when he started frying the rice, it turned into a mushy mess. The judges began criticizing his lack of skill. Tony was about to explain himself when he saw his CEO holding up the token. He had no choice but to swallow his words. Thus, Tony lost the competition under the gaze of thousands of spectators, but his CEO didn't spare him. To prevent Tony from seeking revenge, his CEO brought him to a rundown warehouse and crippled him further. 3 years later, Tony had become a homeless man, sneaking into restaurants to eat leftover food. The staff saw him and told him to leave, saying he was bad for business. Luckily, he met the kind-hearted boss lady who took him in. The next day, following her instructions, Tony cleaned himself up and went to the restaurant. The boss lady immediately assigned him to help in the kitchen, but little did Tony know, the head chef, in order to embezzle food funds, had been urinating into the oil bottles.